Hey everybody, I am going to do a tutorial by request today. Today's tutorial is going to be how I wrap my cups in fabric. And I do this really, it's very simple. Once you get the technique figured out, it's super simple to do. And so let's get started. Today I'm going to be using a 20 ounce traditional. This is from Puzzle Tumblers. You can tell that the paint ran. That's okay. It's cold here, and so when I painted it, it dried in some areas and ran in others, but guess what? We're covering it, so you really can't see it. So this is something that you don't really have to worry too much about. You're going to need Mod Podge. I've got my gloves on for a reason. I'll show you in a second. You will need an X-Acto knife, and you need to make sure that your blade is super duper sharp. I just changed this blade, but I do have my blades out in case I do need to change them again. That's imperative. You have to have a super sharp X-Acto knife to do part of this. You will need your scissors. You will need, whatever you decide to put the Mod Podge on the outside of the fabric with. I usually use just sponges from the Dollar Tree. The fabric that I chose today is this one. It's for a friend, and she actually requested that I make her a cup, and so I know that she likes this particular movie, so I thought I would surprise her with a cup using this fabric. But it's not the only. I got at Walmart. I got this at the Dollar Tree and this at the Dollar Tree. Yes, they have fabric at the Dollar Tree. Then I also wanted to show you, you can use bandanas. These are a lot of fun, especially for men, because they're not very girly. If you want to do some type of bumblebee pattern, you can use that. Cinco de Mayo's coming up. This is called a fat quarter, and there's enough on this piece of fabric for 2 cups. So I get the fat quarters at Walmart. You can also buy them online if you like, but just know that if you get one, you have enough for 2 cups. And because this is a 20 traditional, chances are I probably have enough for 3 of these. A regular 30 ounce curve, I can get 2 in a fat quarter. This I had cut at Walmart as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out what fabric you're going to use and then decide what to spray paint your cup after that. Best not to keep it silver because it will show through the fabric. So I highly suggest that whatever cup you use, you spray paint it to go with the fabric you choose so that it won't be seen through the fabric. First thing you're going to do is cut off a piece of your fabric, and you need to make sure that it goes over the top a little bit and over the bottom a little bit, and that's just to make sure you have enough. Then roll your cup until it goes just past this area here. You want it to be longer than how it will be when you finish it, and when I'm done I will be able to show you what I mean. So here's where it's ending, and I'm going to cut it just a little bigger. I'll probably cut it to go about an inch past. So this is where you'll need your scissors. I'm going to cut it probably on this line right here. Good pair of fabric scissors. Don't use a pair of old scissors. You want to make sure that you can cut through this without leaving any stragglers like these right here, because these will show up if you glue them down to your cup. So try to get off your little stragglers as much as possible. Now you will see that this will go over just past, and that's what you want. The next thing you need to do is find something to trace on. Find something to draw with. Just like this. And trace around the bottom of your cup. because you are going to start with the bottom. All right, cut out your circle. You can cut it paper, you can use just about anything. This is something out of an order I just got in. Take your extra fabric, make sure this is not the one that I want to use, and you want to take your, find what you would like. Let's say, let's use them. Let's put them on the bottom. How does that sound? I think it sounds great. All I'm doing is I'm taking this is going to be on the bottom of my cup, so I'm choosing a theme that I would like it to look nice underneath, and now I'm going to trace around the pattern again. You don't have to find a theme, you can just cut it if you want. You can't see it, but I can. Sort of. Go figure. Cut that out. Cutting it a little bit on the outside just to be on the safe side. And always trim that up if I need to. Make sure I'm doing this. I want to make sure that I'm cutting it correctly. A little wide. And this is good to keep for any other future cups that you decide to use it for, because most of them are about the same if you use a 20-ounce traditional. Very good. Put that aside, and this is going to go right here. So it's a little bit bigger, but that's fine. We want it to be. Next, we will start with the Mod Podge, and now you'll see why I have my gloves on, because I like to put my Mod Podge on these cups by hand, literally, because I want to make sure it is covered really, really well. I know you can do it really well with a brush, but I don't. I want to know that it's really, really well. I think I left this one open one day, so we got little bitty clumps in it, but that's okay. That's the best part about this. You're not going to be able to see anything under the fabric. Here we go. And see, you can't even tell that there was a mess up on the paint, because I knew I was putting fabric on it. I didn't panic, didn't feel like I had to take it off. But if you do panic, you can just use nail polish remover and it'll take it right off. Next, you're going to put your tumbler in the center, as centered as you can, and you're going to pull your fabric over the top, stretching it at the same time, and then lay it down as flat as you can, just like this. And I really think she's gonna love this cup. I really, really do. Okay, now it's time to start using our brush, because we're at the point where we need to make sure that things do sit down a little bit more. on the outside. Now guys, this is the way I do it. I'm sure there are other ways. I have found that this is the best way to do it. So if this works for you, then great. If it doesn't and you have a better way that works, please let me know and I will gladly pass that along. But I'm telling you, if you follow everything I do here, it's going to work great. Let this dry a little bit. Mod Podge doesn't take very long. And here is where your super sharp X-Acto knife comes in. Now, the fabric is laying over the top of itself. You need to make sure to cut through both layers. If you don't cut through both layers, this isn't going to work. I'm going to show you how to do it so that they lay down perfectly side by side. So with your sharp X-Acto knife, making sure to cut through both layers, you're going to cut straight through both layers. Like that. Find my cut. And I do have my X-Acto knives here. If it's not sharp enough, I will switch it out, but so far it has been. It's like that. And now we know where to begin on the bottom because I see the line on the top. Cut the fabric at the top so it's easier to start. And just start a line with your X-Acto knife straight through that bottom layer. Good, just like that. And now you're going to use your Mod Podge once more to glue this side down like this and pull the other side over to meet that line, just like that. Cut a little bit off here. No, I think I'm gonna leave it alone. No, yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone just to make sure that it'll stretch. And yes, the fabric will stretch and go over the top, just like this. And the next thing we need to do is make sure that there aren't any bubbles around. This is what I was talking about, the little hangy-offies, the little fabric shards. You wanna make sure there aren't any bubbles, which there aren't. The next thing you want to do is cut the top layer off here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around the bottom as well, and I'm going to leave a little bit open so that it can go around the edge of the cup. Just like that. And now I'm going to cut little notches in it. Okay. A little more Mod Podge on the bottom. Lay my over the top, and that's why you're cutting your notches, so that they won't leave little indentions in your cup. A little more Mod Podge. And that's where this comes in right here. We're going to place this on the bottom just like this. Trim it up so it looks nice before you put it over the edge of the cup. Now, you do not have to put this on the bottom. I just like it. To me, it looks a little more finished. But if you want, you can leave your bottom blank. Just make sure that you are able to cut around the bottom the way you're going to cut around the top when the Mod Podge is dry. Just like that. Add some more Mod Podge to it, just like this. And push it down around the sides. Found a bubble, didn't get laid down well enough. Excuse me. Make sure that this has enough Mod Podge under it that it's going to stay down. If you don't, when you do your epoxy, you'll be able to see it. Just like that. I'll move this one back over the top. The last thing you're going to do before you epoxy is you're going to Mod Podge this 4 times, drying in between. If you do not do that step, I promise you, you will be able to see the Mod Podge going through your fabric. And all the work you put into it will be for nothing, because you will see Mod Podge, your epoxy is going to leave big black spots. Okay, there we go. And that's all you will see. Doesn't take long for this to dry. So you should be able to get all of your Mod Podge done in one day, and you can start epoxying it tomorrow. Very good, just like that. I'm going to add my first layer of Mod Podge all over the cup, just like this. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, you can use a Mod Podge brush. Okay guys, so now we're going to apply our epoxy. This is after 4 applications of Mod Podge, letting it dry in between. You have to do that. If you don't, then it's going to seep underneath the fabric and it will leave little black spots. Also, I said I was going to cut the top. I decided not to. One of the things I need to point out is when you cut it to the top, when you put your Mod Podge on, make sure you come down this way so that you can get some of the Mod Podge up underneath the top so that it seals off the top next to the cup. Also, I am going to be adding in some of, there it is, this silver holographic ultra fine. I have here 25 mLs of A, 25 mLs of B, that's 50 all together. May or may not use it all, I don't know just yet. But I'm going to put just a tiny itty bitty bit of this into my epoxy, only because I want it to shimmer just a little bit, not enough. But this is the silver holographic. I mean, we're talking like, that may even be too much, just a little bit inside of there, so that when the epoxy is applied, there will be a little bit of shimmer, but the glitter won't take over. I think this cup is absolutely gorgeous, and I think my friend is going to love it. Okay, I'm applying my gloves now. Always remember to protect yourself. A little bit of PPE, personal protection equipment. Come back over here. Now, you'll see what I mean by that little bitty spark of glitter. All I'm gonna do is just apply this directly onto here, and it's just enough sparkle for it to be really, really awesome. Now, when I get done with this, I'm going to put a heat lamp next to it. It's 30 degrees here right now, and Mod Podge loves, epoxy loves heat. It wants heat, guys. So make sure that if it's too cold, that you're making sure that you apply your heat somewhere so that it will be able to dry and cure. Otherwise, it's just not going to. Also, I want you to notice that I'm going up and down so that the epoxy goes over the edge on both the top and the bottom. That way, it's being sealed. I am a flood coater. I love to flood my cups. I love to make sure that there's enough epoxy on it so that the next step doesn't have to be applying more epoxy. But if it does, it does. I just like to make sure that there's enough epoxy on it now that I don't have to worry about it later. Again, this is the way I do things. Make sure that the bottom is covered. How you do it is completely up to you. But anyway, I don't know if you see it there, how beautiful that little bit of sparkle is. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of heat to pop all those bubbles. Okay, so after sanding it down just a little, not much, I wanted to make sure that there weren't any bumps before I put the vinyl on. The vinyl I've chosen is a holographic vinyl, and if there are any bumps on the cup, it will show through. I get my holographic vinyl from Giraffe on Amazon, and guys, they have black holographic. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, so I had to look for it, but here's the seam that I taught you guys how to make, and that's where I like to put my decal because I like it to be covered up. This is the Beauty and the Beast font. lay it down. Do one final epoxy and we should be done. Guys, this is a really easy tumbler to make. And if you follow exactly what I did, putting fabric on a tumbler is just so easy. Just don't be scared. Just jump on it and do it. Pull back slowly. If you have problems getting your vinyl to line up when you do an offset, I like to suggest that you put a star here on your vinyl. And you leave the star there, so when you do your offset, all you have to do is line up the star and everything else should lay down pretty smoothly. But there is her name. There's the fabric tumbler. And now I'm going to do its final epoxies, let it cure and pass it on. I will show you how it looks at the end of this video. I hope I was able to teach you a little something. If I did, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I do several of these a week, and I would love to be able to do more. I thank you very much for joining me today. Take care. Bye-bye.